We continue to watch Hurricane Milton. Its eye wall is moving in now on the Tampa Bay region and Florida's Gulf Coast. Many of those in its projected path haven't even recovered from Hurricane Helene, with cities up and down Florida's Gulf Coast still bearing debris from Helene just 2 weeks ago. And as Floridians prepare for Milton, they've also got to hunker down against a flood of disinformation and lies from mostly Republican politicians. Today, President Biden called out the offenders by name.
Former President Trump has led this onslaught of lies. Assertions have been made that property is being confiscated. That's simply not true. They're saying people impacted by these storms will receive $750 in cash and no more. That is simply not true either. They're saying that money needed for these crises are being diverted to migrants. What the heck are they talking about? Stop it. It's outrageous. It's just not true. Now the claims are getting even more bizarre. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman from Georgia, is now saying the federal government is literally controlling the weather. We're controlling the weather. It's beyond ridiculous. It's so stupid.
I'm joined now by Florida Congressman Jared Moskowitz. He was director of Florida's Division of Emergency Management from 2019 to 2021. Jared, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm going to start with this and get to Marjorie Taylor Greene later. What is the impact on the ground of this kind of misinformation? And I share this with you. I had a friend actually text me a screenshot from Facebook, which should have been a warning from the very beginning. Is this true, Jason? Is this true? Are they taking property? This was in North Carolina. This was in Florida. And I was like, no, this is nonsense, and you shouldn't believe any of this information. But this sort of thing is spreading. What's the impact of that on the ground? And how does it make it difficult to do actual safety work in these affected areas?
Yeah, look, there's always been disaster politics that we've had to deal with in the emergency management industry. Saw it in Katrina, dealt with it in COVID, obviously. But the misinformation that we're seeing being put out now is very dangerous. At some point in time, we'll see people tell residents not to evacuate because the hurricane's not really hitting you. And that's really where it's headed. Obviously, you have people saying that, FEMA doesn't have money because, we sent money to Lebanon. Of course, FEMA doesn't send any money to Lebanon. That's a completely different department, in the State Department who does that. We have people saying that, the reason the hurricane hit North Carolina is they sent it there because there's a silicone mine and they want to take everybody's property. There are people saying, hey, I've never in my lifetime seen a hurricane develop in the middle of the Gulf and go to Tampa. You're right. The reason you haven't seen that in your lifetime is it happened over 100 years ago. And then obviously we have my favorite, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who runs the Mensa caucus, talking about the fact that we have a weather machine, which, if there are aliens watching and they're looking at all of this, they can definitely confirm there is no intelligent life in Congress with Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about a weather machine being used for politics. So it's very dangerous while people are trying to evacuate, make decisions what's best for their family. And so that's why Democrats, Republicans, emergency managers have to combat this. And by the way, there are also foreign actors involved here. Don't think a lot of these accounts aren't foreign governments trying to just cause more confusion and more division here amongst America.
Congressman, I think that's a really, really interesting point, the idea that you would actually even have foreign actors involved in this. What is the benefit? Look, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump, they have, I guess, their political motivations. What is the benefit of sowing chaos in the middle of a natural disaster? Is it because it just destabilizes America? Is it just because people want engagement online? What's the strategy behind lying to someone and saying, hey, you should stay in your house because this is an imaginary storm and we're just going to make it disappear?
Yeah, by the way, I don't know if there's if it helps a political party when Marjorie Taylor Greene says they have a weather machine. Does that mean Donald Trump used the weather machine and sent Maria to Puerto Rico? Right. So I don't know that there's a political benefit. There's a stupidity benefit to her and the people who want to listen to her. But yeah, it's really dangerous when we're trying to save lives, when we're trying to not have emergency personnel, swift water rescue crews having to get people, out of the second floor of their house or off their roof because we wanted them to listen. And we want them to trust government officials who are giving them this advice. One of the things that we're seeing is that people don't trust government institutions anymore. So if someone says, hey, leave your home, evacuate, take your family, your dog, get in a car and drive tens of miles, maybe you don't listen to them anymore because, you don't have any trust in government institutions. That's what they're doing. They're breaking down, that trust. And again, yes, when Russia and China see that, hey, this is what Marjorie Taylor Greene's putting out, don't think they don't have accounts that are amplifying that, or the Silicon Mine nonsense, they're amplifying those accounts. And so, yes, this is something the emergency management industry has had to deal with. We saw it in Katrina. We dealt with it in Sandy. We dealt with it tremendously in COVID.
Right.
But it's apparent now that the disinformation, misinformation age, that the emergency management industry is not immune to that.
Congressman, thank you so very much for laying that out for us. I just want the public to understand the same government that's too incompetent to fix this problem probably hasn't created a weather dominator machine. Thank you so much for laying out that information and fighting misinformation with us tonight.